ഹലോ എവരിവൺ. നമ്മൾ ഇന്ന് നോക്കാൻ പോകുന്നത് ഇൻകം ഫ്രം ഹൗസ് പ്രോപ്പർട്ടിയിൽ സെൽഫ് ഒക്യുപ്പൈഡ് പ്രോപ്പർട്ടിയുടെ കാര്യങ്ങളാണ്. അപ്പോൾ എന്താണ് സെൽഫ് ഒക്യുപ്പൈഡ് പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി? സെൽഫ് ഒക്യുപ്പൈഡ് പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി എന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ ഒരാൾ അവനവൻ്റെ താമസത്തിന് വേണ്ടിയിട്ട് അല്ലെങ്കിൽ മറ്റാവശ്യങ്ങൾക്ക് വേണ്ടിയിട്ടും എടുത്തിരിക്കുന്ന പ്രോപ്പർട്ടിനെയാണ് നമ്മൾ സെൽഫ് ഒക്യുപ്പൈഡ് പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി എന്ന് പറയുന്നത്. പ്രധാനമായിട്ടും 6 തരത്തിലാണ് ഈ സെൽഫ് ഒക്യുപ്പൈഡ് പ്രോപ്പർട്ടി നമ്മൾ ഡിസ്കസ് ചെയ്യുക. ഒന്ന്, occupied by the owner for the previous year fully for his residential activities. Then property which cannot be occupied for his residence due to certain reasons like employment or profession outside. Then third one, he has more than one or two house property which are in occupation for his own residential purposes. Fourth one, house property which is self-occupied consisting of various independent units. Next one is partly let out and partly self-occupied. There is one self-occupied property which is partly let, the other part is self-occupied. And the sixth type is that there is only one property but it is let out for part of the year and it is self-occupied for part of the year. The details which we shall look into. The first type, the property consists of a house which is occupied by the owner for his own residence. The gross annual value is nil. As of now, a person can claim for maximum 2 houses. This exemption can be claimed for 2 houses. So the GAV will be considered as nil, NAV will be nil. So obviously the income will be either 0 or negative. Second type is the property consists of a house or part of the house, but the assessee cannot occupy it. The reason, he has gone for employment or for business or for profession and he has to stay away from the property owned by him. So he is staying in a property not owned by him. So for that also the gross annual value will be nil. This is the second type. The third type is the assessee has more than 2 house property which are in occupation for his own residential purpose. So assume an assessee has 4 house properties. Okay, so he can choose any of the two for claiming exemption for self-occupancy. The other two will be considered as deemed to be let out. So in this, it is assessor's choice. He can choose which one he can consider for self-occupancy, which one he can consider for deemed to be let out. Actually, all these properties are self-occupied by him. He has not let out anything, but he can claim the self-occupancy benefit for only 2 of the houses out of this 4. So GAV will be ARV or ERV, whichever be the higher value. But actually this ARV will not be there because it has not been rendered out. So it will GEV will always be this ERV. So this is deemed let out first one. This is the first one. There are three types of deemed let out which we will discuss right now. In fourth type, the house property consists of various independent units. See, assume this is one unit, this is another unit, this is another unit, this is another unit. So there are 4 units. Okay, so the assessee can choose any 2 of this as self-occupied. The other 2 will be deemed to let out. Okay, so this house property, this is one single property. The entire property is one single property, but there are different units. This has a number, this has a number, this has a number, this also has a number. This is a big house. Okay, so the assessee can claim any 2 as self-occupied and the other 2 will be considered as deemed to let out. So this is the second type. In the next type, the property is partly let and partly self-occupied. Okay, assume this is one single property. Okay, and he has let out the ground floor and he is living in the first floor. If that units are separable. That is, if it has separate numbers, the first floor has one number and the ground floor has another number, then what you can do is, first one you can claim a self occupancy, the other one will be considered as let out. Okay, so this is fifth type, fifth one, A. If they are not inseparable, that means this doesn't have a separate number. First floor doesn't have a separate number. Ground floor doesn't have a separate number. The entire house property has only one number. But first floor is occupied by the owner, ground floor is occupied by a tenant. Okay, if that is the case, the entire unit will be considered as let out. There will not be any self-occupancy benefit. Okay, so if it is separable, you can claim self-occupancy benefit for one unit. The other one will be considered as let out. If the units are not separable, then the entire unit will be considered as let out property. So GA will be higher of actual rental value or expected rental value. In normal cases, this will be higher. ERV will be higher because you are considering for the entire house. No, that is correct. The next type is, there is only one property and this property is self-occupied for some part of the year and later on it has been let out. Okay, so what we will do is the entire house will be considered as let out. There will not be any benefit of self-occupation. So that house will be deemed to be let out for the entire year. Okay, but one concession is the actual rental value. This actual rental value will be taken for let out period only. Okay, so that is the difference. That is a fixed type. So here, how you will compute the income from self-occupied house property. As we have discussed, GAV is nil. If GAV is nil, then we cannot deduct anything from it. So the municipal taxes, even if paid by the owner, it will not be considered. It is not applicable. Net annual value (NAV) will also be nil. There will not be any deduction because the standard deduction is a percentage of NAV, right? So there will not be any deduction. Whatever be the deduction pending is this thing: interest on borrowed capital and reconstruction interest. The balance amount will be income from house property. Actually, that will be a loss or a zero. If there is interest, it will be a negative figure. If there is no interest, this will be a zero figure. Now we will discuss what are the deductions from self-occupied property. So the only deduction what we can claim is interest on construction or repair or renewal, including pre-construction interest. But unlike let out property, there is restriction for claiming interest. For let out property, there was no restriction with respect to amount. But here, there is restriction for the amount of interest you can claim. That depends on for what purpose you have taken the loan. If you have taken the loan for repair or renewal, okay, then the maximum amount of interest you can claim is 30,000 rupees. If you have taken the loan for acquisition, construction, or reconstruction of the house property, then another condition will be asked when you have taken the loan. If you have taken the loan on or before 31st March 1999, then the maximum deduction you can claim is 30,000. If it is after this date, then the amount of interest you can claim is 2 lakhs. As of now, most of the house properties considered under this only. Okay. If you have taken loan for construction, acquisition or reconstruction, as of now, and used for self-occupancy, the maximum amount of interest you can claim is 2 lakhs. This will not be applicable because this is a very older date. If it is used for any repair or renewal of your house property, then the maximum amount of interest you can claim is 30,000. This limit is per annum, okay, not the entire interest, it is for per annum. And this is the various details. Case 1, where the amount is borrowed for the purpose of repair renewal, then the maximum amount will be 30,000. If it is after 1499 for repair renewal, still the amount is 30,000. If the property is occurred constructed with borrowed capital and the amount is borrowed after 1499, then the amount of interest will be 2 lakh. That is the maximum you can claim. There is one more condition attached for claiming this interest. What is? You have to complete the construction or acquisition of that house property within 5 years from the end of the financial year in which the amount was borrowed. Assume you borrowed in 2020. Okay, let's say uh, 1st of August 2020. The financial year is ending on 31st March 2021. Okay, 31st March 2021. 5 years you calculate. Okay, 5 years. So 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. So by 31st of March 2026, you have to complete the construction or the acquisition of that particular house property. Only then you can claim the interest up to 2 lakhs. Recently, a new amendment came because according to the new tax regime, you cannot claim any deductions under section 24. That means no standard deduction, no deduction of interest with respect to self-occupied property. So if you are claiming new regime, you cannot claim interest. Okay, so that's all with respect to self-occupied house property. Thank you.